All right, hello, Brewmasters Collective Club members. We're here talking about the Best Meats collection, the last collection for 2022, which I thought was a really great year of beers, and thank you so much for being a part of it. I'm here with Craig, Ollie, and we're in the Theater of Barrels here in Paso Robles. We're moving into Barrel Works beers, of course, made down in Buellton, 90 miles south of here. And Molly has blended up for us, with the help of the Beachwood Blendery, a sour beer that incorporates a lot of really cool elements that we're going to kind of unpack.
Fuzzy feelings.
Fuzzy feelings, yes.
Fuzzy feeling.
Feeling, sorry.
Yeah.
Fuzzy feeling.
Just one feeling.
Yeah,
it's
just
not
one
multiple
feeling.
feeling.
But a handsome label. Pretty stoked on that label.
Yeah.
So a little bit about background. So our Barrel Works program has been in action for a little over 10 years. Of course, this is Jim Crooks's brainchild, and a lot of the beers that we've been talking about were things that came out of our love of barrels, kind of a side shift away from spirits barrels, and all things kind of local, spontaneously fermented, mixed culture, and all of those things. And we've always been hyper-focused on the local. In fact, I think what we really wanted to do was try to gravitate towards our winemaker neighbors and incorporate a lot of the microflora and everything, from this region. And so our beers have a lot of wild native yeasts, a lot of Brettanomyces, and certainly a nice solid lactic acidity to them. The Beachwood Blendery, and I can't tell their whole story, but what I do know about their program is they're really focused on authentic Belgian beers. And in fact, they really hyper-focused on Cantillon. And if you've had those beers, and if you're familiar with the traditional lambics of that region in and around Brussels, the spontaneously fermented beers, there's something about the acidity that those beers have relative to our American kind of counterpoint that's just so soft and gorgeous. And Ollie and I had a chance to go down to the Blendery just a couple weeks ago.
Which was a great experience.
Oh my gosh. And the highlight of that trip was sitting down with Harrison, who's in charge of the Blendery, and tasting through his works of art. Honestly, these beers are absolutely gorgeous. And we haven't stopped talking about them since we got back. Yeah. So it was just such a high honor to do this collaboration with those guys. I always had an appreciation for their beer, but I don't think you really get to know these types of things until you visit and you get to talk to the people who actually make those beers. And I think the thing that really differentiates our program, again, our program is very wild yeast and Brett focused. Theirs actually has a fairly high amount of Piacoccus. And as I've learned through this experience, that bacteria, that organism produces a bit of a softer acidity. And I think it's something that plays out, no doubt, in our collaboration that we did in our house, but certainly played out in their collaboration. So they made the exact same beer at the Blendery, and you should seek it out when it's released, and maybe save a bottle of this so that you can taste them side by side. We did that with Harrison when we were just down there a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, and their house character to their culture comes across in this beer so well. After I tasted what they were producing down there, which was amazing, by the way, I was blown away with the expression, because we are more lacto-based and more Brett-based. I was amazed how that came through in this beer in particular. And I think this beer really stands out as something different from what we've done in our normal program, with a little bit lower acidity than some of the other beers that we have done.
Yeah, so a little bit of the background, not to get too far ahead of ourselves. The focus was to use both their culture and our culture, blend them together. This beer was racked onto peaches and spent an extended maceration on peaches, and then it was late spiced with sage. So try to unpack those flavors for us if you can.
Well, so I feel like it's my mission to deliver something a little bit more than what's on the label when it comes to flavor callouts. So, of course, we talk about peaches and sage, and it's all in there, right? Especially, actually, the sage comes through in a really nice kind of earthy way. But one thing that I noticed, and this is like digging into the deeper levels beyond just the acidity that all of you were talking about. But peach and a lot of stone fruits have an almond character to them. It's a compound called benzaldehyde, and I feel like it produces a really nice foundation for a lot of different things, namely a lot of different sour beers that incorporate stone fruits, even wood that you get in aged beers like this, or like we're in here. Wood has some benzaldehyde in it. But what I'm getting at here is Mai Tais. Mai Tais always have orgeat in them, which is an almond liqueur. So if you twist your brain a little bit and really dig into this and like appreciate the sourness, the textbook acidity that is tiki drinks, and then that spice level comes in, and you might be able to frame this in a way where you're drinking this in a, I don't know, Polynesian kind of atmosphere. Yeah, on the beach.
Yeah, and I think in our case, I can't speak for how they handled the fruit on their end, but for our collab, we sat on the fruit for the better part of the year, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we probably did get some extraction of some of those pit-like characters, that almond character you were talking about. I was blown away. Typically, when you say sage in beer, I'm kind of like, oh gosh, I don't know. It's just not a spice that comes to mind, but it works so well in this beer, and it really worked well in the beer that Harrison made down at the blendery as well. So whoever's idea, and it wasn't mine, to use sage, good on them, because it worked. You might try to incorporate that in some beers in the future. Beautiful golden color, kind of reminiscent of the fruit that was used, the peach that was used. Beautiful foam on this beer. I think that's something that we've always focused on, because it's hard to get good foam on sour, long-aged beers. I think this beer has beautiful foam for what it is. Gosh.
No, I think they did a great job.
Yeah.
Yet again, successful collaboration.
Yeah, so very thankful to Beachwood Blendery for doing this with us. This beer will age very well, so don't hesitate to hang on to it. I'm looking forward to it as it develops. I think it's better today than the day it was bottled. I think it's already developed quite well in the bottle.
I have to agree.
Yeah, can't say enough about this beer. So thanks to the Beachwood Blendery, to Collabs.
Giving us a fuzzy feeling.
Fuzzy feeling.
Oh, just one of them though.
Just one.
Cheers.
Cheers.